Well, welcome to another edition of Techspotting, and I'm Bert Lum.
I'm Ryan Ozawa.
And we're here to talk about the latest announcements from Apple Computer.
Absolutely. The Worldwide Developers Conference kicked off on Monday with the big keynote, and it's still the buzz of the tech sphere, but I thought it would be kind of fun for us to share, as a couple of local dudes, what we were the most excited about.
Well, you know, the three main categories were the new OS Lion, and then you have iOS 5, which is coming out, and the iCloud.
Right.
Now, from the standpoint of those three categories, if you look at things like Lion, what was it that popped out at you?
Well, Lion, the first thing that popped out at me was the price. You know, we're
Oh,
still
yeah.
used to the fact that when you have to upgrade to the next version of the operating system for your computer, whether it's Windows or Mac, was $129 and then $79. Now we're down to $29. So I think that's revolutionary in and of itself. The second thing about it is you don't get a disc anymore. And some people love that because, hey, who wants to be dealing with physical media anymore?
Okay, so
but a lot of people are upset about that.
Right.
too.
Okay. So if you don't get a disc, how do you purchase this? You have to have the the App Store already loaded.
Right, which is interesting because if you don't have the latest version of the OS, Leopard, I think, you don't have the App Store. So now you're separated without an upgrade to get to the latest version. It is a little tricky. I think on one hand, it's good for us because if you use the Apple Mac App Store, you can get Lion for all of the computers on your account. However, if you were the person who had like 7 different accounts for the 7 people in your household, but you were using the same copy of the disc for everybody, you're out of luck. Now you're going to be buying 7 copies. But at $29, I think that's a reasonable upgrade.
Well, $29 is pretty good. Now you have things like a full screen. You have all these gesturing capabilities, because nowadays you don't really need to have a mouse at all.
Well, it's clear that Apple is trying to kill the mouse. After being the company that created the mainstream adoption of the mouse, now they want to stomp it dead. They're really excited about trackpads, so they're pushing that, so you can use 5 fingers, 4 fingers, 3 fingers
Double
to do different
taps
things,
and,
double taps and such. Because clearly what they're doing with Lion and what you're going to see on the iOS side is they're merging these two things so that your computers become a very intuitive, touch-based interface. Eventually, I mean, I don't know about you, but already I'm at the point where if I've used my iPad all day and then I sit down at my computer, I'll be like tapping the screen thinking that that's going to work, and it's not going to work.
Well, okay, so iOS 5. What's hot about iOS 5?
Well, for me, and I think for a lot of people, iOS is a fantastic, slick, super simple operating system. It's great that both my mom and my kid can use it. But the one thing that it does that drives me batty is notifications, which is you might be playing a game and you want to know that you got a text message, or you might be checking your email and you want to know that a timer has gone off. In iOS right now, and since the beginning of the iPhone, all it does is go whoop, and it puts the thing on the screen, and you got to tap it to make it go away. Now, one, that's annoying because if you've missed 10 or 11 notifications, the next time you pick up your phone, you just got to clear all of those bubbles. Secondly, once you started clearing all those bubbles, and you're like, wait, what was that notification? That looked important. It said Mom, but I don't know what it was. You can't go back. So the new version of iOS finally does it right, primarily by copying Android and saying that whenever you get any notification, they line up, chronologically, and if you just swipe down the screen, you'll get the list of the last notifications that you got.
Now, in terms of the actual functionality of iOS 5, are there any things that are new? I think one of the things that I kind of got sort of interested about is the camera, some of the camera functions. Now, when you currently take a picture on the iPhone, you can only do very limited kinds of things with it. In fact, you can't even rotate it.
Right.
So I think in the new iOS, you can actually rotate photos. I think that's a great thing.
Well, that's a big thing, and it's one thing that people are all noticing, which is, as with any platform, Twitter's doing this too. Once there's a feature that everybody wants that's provided by a third-party developer or a programmer, all they do is say, okay, well, now our system's going to do that automatically. You don't need that software to do it anymore. I think rotation is pretty basic, but certainly as they innovate and add more features, if these companies that used to provide these features can't make it even better, they're going to be extinct.
Well, I like how they did the top 10 things that they were going to talk about on each of those 3 categories. The other thing that they talked about was Twitter and how they plan to incorporate Twitter in all the different kinds of, let's say, notifications. When, let's say you take a photo and you want to, just directly upload it to Twitter, it automatically does it. It makes it an attachment. You can get a tweet, boom, send it out, and it's there.
Well, it's really interesting that Apple, of all the things that it does in terms of being one of the big powerhouses of the internet, is it can't do social really well. And I think Google has the same problem. And what Google is trying to do is build its own platform, whether you're going to call it Buzz or whatever, plus one now, but Apple, I think, is basically kind of saying, you know what, we're going to piggyback and kind of use Twitter. They still have Ping, which is their sort of music-based Twitter, but I don't know anybody who actually uses it. So they're saying that's going to be the backbone of our possibly social strategy, which I think is important because, you know, people thought that Apple and Facebook were going to be friends, but there was some sort of falling out with the whole Ping thing. They got cut off, API arguments, and so I think Apple is not going to play with Facebook anymore. Facebook is too big to be a partner, and Apple will only pick a partner that they can probably have influence on. So Twitter it is, and I'm happy for it because I love Twitter.
Now, on the topic of iCloud, I thought it was very captivating in how they depicted the introduction to iCloud. And what they did was they showed how these devices are now going to be basically untethered to the PC. And there was a graphic that showed the PC basically being demoted. In fact, they used the word, Steve Jobs used the word demoted. He dropped the PC down, they became all basically on the same level. And iCloud became the mechanism by which all three sort of can share information and share digital assets.
It was a significant shift in the sense that we all still see, to some extent, even your iPhone, your iPad, a lot of people just say you plug it in your computer to get some stuff done and then you walk around with it. Back when you had Palm Pilots or back when you had these other devices, it was like plug it into your computer to sync data, transfer things, but then you can walk around with it. But it always used that computer as the base. And I think as hugely successful as the iPad and the iPhone is, the most ridiculous part about the experience of becoming a new owner is you get to the store, you pull it, you bring it home, and then it says, please plug this into your computer. What? I bought this to get away from my computer and I still have to do that. So cutting the cord was a really big step. But iCloud, by moving all of that to the cloud, by putting it all on the internet, there's all kinds of data that they're going to say, we're going to keep everywhere for you and make it available.
So as an example, if you take a picture with your iPhone and that photo is now on your iPhone, it will automatically be uploaded to the cloud and be shared with your iPad as well as your Mac.
Right. So actually, a lot of people kind of compared that to the photo stream that Flickr innovated in the sense that now you're out, you're taking a picture. We're at an unconference and we're taking pictures. It shows up on the phone you're using. It shows up on the iPad that's sitting on the desk. It shows up at your computer at home, and just as easily could be anywhere else that you're connected. Now it's a little weird in the sense that they're not going to save everything. There's a specific limit. I think it was 5 gigabytes, and that covers specific things like files and photos and pictures. And so they're just saying, this syncs it all and makes it available everywhere, but if you really want to keep it resident on a device, you're still going to have to drag it or move it somewhere to keep it there because it only keeps the last certain number of those. But I think the thing that really is exciting, hopefully, about iCloud is it's going to do better, they say, at syncing your contacts, your address book, basically, your calendars and stuff. I mean, syncing is really hard work, and all the big companies are still trying to figure out a way to do it well. Now, what I liked was Steve Jobs saying, yes, this is the new mobile me, and we know mobile me sucked, but we're going to do it right this time. I mean, that kind of honesty was nice.
Yeah, and you know, Mobile Me, I don't know, in terms of people who have been subscribers to Mobile Me, I've been one of them. It's been $100 a year, and really, what did you get? You didn't really get a whole lot.
Right, you got 20 gigs of storage space, but a lot of people didn't use it, and it was, at this point now, I think, stable syncing of your contacts. I like that when I I say lunch with Bert in my iPhone, I know it's going to show up on my computer and on my iPad, and of course my wife can see my calendar, so she knows, oh, well, Ryan's going to have lunch with Bert. Again. So that's good. Of course, the big revolutionary thing about iCloud, though, was how it works with iTunes. iTunes in the cloud.
Well, in terms of iTunes, you can order music, and it'll get shared across a number of different devices, which before you had to...
You had to do that syncing and plug it in things and drag things
Now,
around.
there was an interesting application where you can take music that you've ripped yourself off of CDs and put them onto your device, and then it'll do some iTunes matching, right?
Now that is the primary revolution that's happening here, and I think you'll never hear it described this way, but it's basically an amnesty program for the last 10 to 15 years of file sharing. I mean, basically they're saying, and the music companies are saying, we know that even though you've got 10,000 MP3s on your computer, you probably only paid for about 1/10 of them, but that's okay. If you pay us $30 a year. We're going to scan all of that music, and as long as we can identify what that song is, we're going to give you access to it through iCloud. You're going to get an upgraded version, most likely, because when I was ripping CDs, I was using the smallest possible file size. We were really obsessed with that at that time. We're going to give you a better version of it, and you're going to have access to it from all of your devices. So even though you might have gotten that AC/DC album from questionable sources, by paying that $30, basically the music company is saying, it's all right. All is forgiven.
And that's quite amazing. That's a big shift in terms of the music industry, allowing that kind of thing to happen.
Well, what I think they see it as is that, right now you've got those 10,000 songs, most of which you might not have paid for. At least they're getting $30 or some portion of that $30. So they're getting money they didn't for something that they had initially written off as a complete and total loss for the industry. So this is a win-win for everybody.
Now, this was at the Worldwide Developers Conference, and a lot of the developers got their hands on all of this software now because they're all developers. But when is this going to become available to the general public?
Well, they just kept saying fall, fall. Now, the one thing you didn't see at the Worldwide Developers Conference was a new iPhone. Now, it's hard to believe, but every year until this year, there was a new iPhone every June, but you didn't. And the rumors had been that we're going to wait until fall. So I think when you're going to see iOS fully released, when you're going to see Lion ready to go to do everything it's supposed to do, will be in the fall, September or so. But some of this stuff is available now. I think Lion is going to be available pretty quickly. And right now, some of the features of iCloud already exist. For example, if you go to your iTunes account right now and you see something that you've bought on your phone that's not on your computer, it'll give you the opportunity to say, hey, you've already paid for this. Would you like it here? And you can get it. That already happens.
So it's a lot to be looking forward to, and some of it is actually trickling out now. And if you want to really see the whole keynote address that Apple did, you can go to the apple.com, and it's available there.
Yep, including they've got pages on all of these things, iCloud, iOS 5, and Lion. Just go to apple.com.
Exciting stuff. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on another Tech Spotting.
Aloha.